Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and today we have another amazing show lineup for y'all. We have our special guest. His name is Harold Phifer. He has an amazing book that you can get out right now on Amazon. It is My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift. He has a powerful story. He has a lot of experience, a lot of different changes in his life. But man, we're going to have a fun time learning everything about what he does. First and foremost, Harold, I know that you are busy, and we're going to understand why, because you have a heck of a story. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for spending time with us, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here, and hopefully I can share a couple stories, maybe make you guys laugh, maybe encourage you to dig a little deeper and go get the book.
So let's kind of go back in time, because we're not going to go too far back, but just for our audience sake, you were born in Columbus, Mississippi. You, as a child, you've been through a lot. You were hustling the streets, you worked the streets, you busted tables, you graduated from high school, earned some degrees at Mississippi State University and Jackson State University. You began your career as a air traffic controller in Memphis, Tennessee. After 23 years, you left and became an international contractor. And that's where I want you jump in and kind of give us a little painting of your crazy roller coaster life, man.
Oh man, wow. I had horrible childhood, to be honest, and there's a place in Mississippi. I'm sure it's still there, called Sugar Ditch. Sugar Ditch sounds weird. Sugar Ditch, Mississippi. Broken down homes. The no sewer, or the sewer, float through the ditch area behind the houses, and some in front of it. It wasn't that bad, but almost. But anyway, mom schizophrenic, all that. So I kind of buried all that as I got into college and moving up. And long story short, didn't tell people about my past, because I didn't want the sympathy, none of that. I'm like, want to fit in. So anyway, I ended up writing a book in Afghanistan, Surviving Chaos, How I Found Peace at a Beach Bar. And that was because our camp got attacked by the Taliban. And in the process, I thought I was going to be killed. And so Taliban had this thing, they would blow up the place, and then they'll run in and shoot whoever left until they were exterminated. So the place blew, I'm sitting there. Well, I'm still here. I got 2 eyes, still feel my nose, mouth, 10 fingers. Still here, but the next onslaught could be on the way, where they come in and shoot everybody. So long story short, I'm sitting there praying, and my life is flashing before my eyes. And it goes back to being a childhood, my child, and coming forward. And part of it was like, man, I always planned to write a book about my childhood. And like, man, I didn't get a chance to do that. So I kept on praying, God, if you let me get out of here, I'm going to write that book. Well, the book, Surviving Chaos, How I Found Peace at a Beach Bar, was that book. So once I wrote that one of the characters was my Aunt Kathy. And people, kind of popular man, kept asking me about Aunt Kathy, was she really like that, blah, blah, blah. So I decided, like, she kind of need a book. So my bully, my aunt, and her final gift is that book. And so I went in on her. And it started out a little kind of mean spirit, because I had to build the scenario, who she was. And then I tell the story. And so it's a lot of humor, a lot of wild stuff. But I like to entertain, and I wanted to bring people along. I want you to laugh with me more than, being touched or, by all the drama. Yeah, the drama is there, but it's a lot of good humor, a lot of good things that I think good, a lot of unique things that you probably never heard, but to me, it's funny.
And once again, listening, watching us online, I'm Refocused Radio, talking to our special guest today, Harold Phifer. Go on Amazon. I'm going to put the book cover up there real fast for our audience. You go on Amazon and get a copy of this book, My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift. So my first question, just to start us off from the book, Man, the title, man, that's an eye catcher right there. A bully leaving a final gift. So when it comes to that unexpected gift, kind of share with the audience, how did you come to recognize, against all the memories that you had to choose from, that there was a little gift in there?
Yeah, all she put me through, and I say that because the bullying. I wrote this poem for Christmas play, and had never got any Christmas gift, but like I'm gonna make it happen this Christmas. So I'm gonna write a poem. I'm gonna win the best, the best spirit of Christmas, award, at church, and I'm gonna deliver it to Santa Claus. That was my plan. Well, right before the big play, my aunt had stole my poem, give it to my older brother, and for him to perform. So she was always doing things that I put in terms of bullying. Another incident was um, she took us to this county fair, and me and my brother sneak off, start gambling, which was illegal, of course, still is in Mississippi. Well, at the time, and even where we were, it's still illegal. And I'm like 7, 8, and my brother about 10. So we're gambling, betting on these what hole the mouse would leave the table on like a billiard table. Well, I started winning, and if you got enough credit, you win this bicycle, you know. And me, I was on a heater, I was winning. So I win the bike, and all of a sudden my aunt shows up with all this commotion because I'm about to take pictures and make the paper and all that. And so my aunt shows up, find out we had been gambling, and make me give it back. So that was painful. Never had anything nice. Yeah, everything I had was hand me downs. Didn't have a bicycle. So that was painful. But had it been my brother, which she adored, this was a golden child. She would allowed him to kept it. So I knew this, and that was painful. Then I get in the Boy Scouts, which it was great. It was needed. I needed some mentorship, and the head of the Boy Scout, I mean, he really took to me, and I was excelling, love it, doing well. Um, Matter of fact, we were one of the first African American unit to be on television at the time. We made this popular TV show where once she finds out, she kicks me out of the Boy Scout. I mean, I'm loving life. So she was always doing things, to either ratchet me down or stomp me out. And that's
Wow.
how I got, and that's how the bully you can't okay come about.
And also the book, it's also described as offering a lighthearted yet honest look. When you take kind of a second to kind of reflect on your relationship with your aunt and the roller coaster ride, if you will, of that relationship, what were some of the challenges in being both lighthearted but also honest when recounting some of those difficult situations?
Well, in passing, I mean, it's people don't want to be mean to you; they want to speak well of you. So that was hard. It was hard, writing her eulogy. I mean, writing her obituary, and being asked to do the eulogy. And the pastor guilt me into it. I wasn't gonna be. I would tell him no 100 times over, but he hit that spot that he was right, where I was a little menace when I wasn't around my aunt, and everybody in the community knew it. And so the pastor was like, I baptized you in spite of you being a little menace. Okay. Um, um, well, not only that, um, when I got ready to go to college, they took up a little fund, what churches do. And he's like, well, people didn't think you would amount to anything, but I still went through and, helped get you some fun to send you off to college. Yeah, they did. So he guilt me into it. And I'm like, Yeah, he's right. Okay. So part of it is we get to. I got to help do the eulogy.
Once again, listen, I Refocused Radio and watch us online. Once again, you can get this book on Amazon. I'm going to show on the screen because I want you all to understand that this is something that I hope you appreciate, because not too often do you have these crazy stories of real life situations, but at the same time, you didn't allow that to sour you. Like, you still made a great life for yourself. So kind of touch on maybe some of the history of your work, professional work experience, and how do you see just some of the things that you've been able to go through still kind of shape your way as far as a writer, and just still having a positive outlook on life? Because it's easy to get sour and say, well, I've been through all this stuff and, woe is me.
Right. Yeah. It was tough, and the weird thing, I hear other people say this before, that they just had a feeling, they just knew. Even though I was downtrodden, I probably was never comfortable consistently. And I mean by that, 2 or 3 days in a row, until I was about 28. Okay. But as a kid, I knew I knew where I wasn't meant for me. I knew if I could make it to college, I knew if I just held on, believe, I could change it. And I gotta admit, it had to be spiritual, had to be God driven. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I can't explain, to be honest. I just knew there was something better. And I've hit a bunch of rough spots. And think about success. When you have a little success or a lot, and you hit a rough spot, you start to recalculate, how did you, find that success in the first place. So it gives you something to bank on when you hit a rough spot again. And those are the things that helped me.
The book also is not asking for sympathy, but what kind of connection and understanding are you hoping that readers will appreciate when they learn more about not just the relationship part, but just altogether what the book is illustrating?
You got to learn. You got to find a way to let go. Death, or even, one of the things I've heard 20 years ago, and kind of weird, from Michael Irvin, football player Michael Irvin. He said, when you've had success, what would motivate you after, when you had a lot of success or money? And he said, failure. And I'm like, that's right. Once you have success and you fail, you're like, it's not supposed to happen to me. It'll motivate you to, to get back on your feet. Um, I say, believe in yourself, resilience. You need something to believe in. Just whether you believe in God, just something to sustain you until you get it together, or you start seeing some better light or whatever. And that's why I taught my kids. I'm like, you don't have to be fanatics, but I want you to believe in God, because I can't always be there. I can't always be in your ear. So you need something to sustain you until you start to, self-assert yourself, or see the good in your battles and your struggle. Um, and I would say last, if you can, learn to laugh at yourself, because sometimes we beat ourselves up too much. And like, my book, you can tell I laughed at myself a lot, or laughed at my aunt a lot. It wasn't funny then, but it's funny now.
And going back a little bit with your job, when you first left the U.S. and you started working internationally, to me that suggests a desire for not just opportunity, but a change, maybe possibly escape what you once knew, and try something totally brand new. For you, what was the extent of your relationship with your aunt contributing to the fact of a powerful decision like that?
Oh, she was probably lower on the, I'll say, ranking of, because, but I went through, I had kind of been complacent. And this is going to sound weird, but I kind of got fired. It was kind of like the best thing that ever happened because I was complacent. And I was always a driven person, love challenges. So once I left to become an international contractor, that drive kicked back in, that fight kicked back in. And, but also, I had lost my family, got divorced, lost my kids. And I say lost my kid as in, when you're used to seeing your kid every day, then, you only see them maybe once a month or something like that at best. You kind of lost your kids, and that was hard because I grew up without a father and I always wanted to be a better parent than what I had. Basically grew up without a mom. And like I said, once again, want to be a better parent than and then to get smacked, that it knocked me on my butt. So leaving the country and trying to refine myself, I needed that.
I like how you said earlier about failure plays a big role in for you to almost have like a moment where you wake up. Okay, like, oh, it's been comfortable for a long time, and here comes reality. The bus of reality comes through and says, hey, wake up. What are you going to do now? When you had that moment of, what am I going to do now? That's a lot of stuff to go through as far as like losing very personal things that you're used to having. How were you able to make those adjustments as you had to pick up and go?
Oh man, I'll be honest, it was day to day, and that's why I kept telling myself, like you've done this before. Like I said, when you have some success, you got something to bank on. Like you've done it before, we'll take it day to day, and it wasn't easy, man. It wasn't easy. I mean, if I could tell you some things that doesn't sound believable, but I went from, well, I'm not going to talk about the money, but I went from doing well to almost, one skid row, I'd be lying, but but I went from making a lot of money to making about a third of what I was making. And to the point that I had to take a bird bath at the hotels. I would pretend like I stayed in the hotel, and I go in the bathroom, clean up, go get my car and go to work. I would go to a different one after I got off work, go to the appetizer they had, to sustain me, to have food. Um, this was very real. I did that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then success hit, and it hit big, you know. And when I became an international contract, it hit again and hit big. But for a moment, it was bad, and I didn't tell anybody. People. I was living in a broke down RV trailer that didn't have air conditioning, and the heater barely worked. Had like a black and white TV, and we're talking not too long ago. I mean, okay, it was bad, and but I kept day to day, just get up day to day. Like I said, another way I did it, I got a membership to a gym, which was about $35-40 a month, and I would take a shower there, and that, I didn't tell people why, they think I'm working out, but I wasn't. I need to clean up. And the other option I had was, and I hope I don't create problem for the facility, was go to the hospital. Great facilities, great bathroom, and go to the emergency room. You got people there, right? Great bathroom, clean up, brush your teeth, go to work. Wow. So yeah, and people don't believe it because what I'm saying, because I live a pretty decent life, but people don't believe that you hit it that hard. And yes, I did. And it was so hard for me because I came a long way and was doing well for quite a while, and then got into some stuff. I won't go into that, but then got smacked down hard.
Hmm.
But I fought my way back, you know.
That's amazing because to to just think about that for a minute, that you were doing something very well.
Hmm.
You had to downgrade, you had to struggle, you had to make difficult decisions. I mean, for you to have to go different place to place just to, freshen up and make yourself presentable and still be on the grind and go to work.
Yeah.
That's that takes mental toughness. That's not for no weak sauce.
Right.
That's for someone who's determined. So my next question for you is, looking back, would
Mhm.
you say those challenging times is what built a solid foundation for you, as far as
Oh
I'm
yeah.
always going to push myself no matter how difficult life comes at me?
Oh yes. Oh yes. It you know, and I have a sunny disposition, and people don't realize why I smile because I've seen bad, you know, and I don't let a lot of things get to me because I've seen bad, you know, and so and I remind myself, because you're human. You're like, stop complaining, Harold. This is nothing compared to what you've done before, you know. But yeah.
So many people, uh, we get distracted on our journey in life because when we're trying to build a life, I mean, some of us we want to reach and be like the top celebrity, and some of us we just want to have a decent living and just be able to have peace and sleep at night. For you, understanding both sides of the aisle, being at the top of the world and then being at the bottom, and then, like you said in your own words earlier, having to fight back. Uh, what would you say to someone who feels like, you know what, man? I love the hopeful, speeches and stories, but
Hmm.
it's real right now, man. Like, I'm going through it. I'm in the thick of things. What would you say to encourage that person, just to say, you know what? I don't know your situation, but here's some of the things that I did when I fell at the bottom of the pit, and how I was able to fight out of that, horrific season.
Uh, like I said, don't give up hope. Um, you evaluate everything. What you don't need, what you do need, survive. Um, who's genuine in your life, and those that are not, you got to get away from them quickly. Um, and like I said, day to day, just little victories. If you have to, just little victories. Um, but you got to believe in yourself. Um, and like I said, once again, if it take God to keep you focused or stable, for sure, by no stretch would I say exclude God or Jesus Christ
Powerful
himself.
story, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, when I read the Bible, I didn't have that on my bingo card. That part of the story is not just encouraging. That speaks volume when a person is determined to not allow bad situations to be the definition of their life, but instead use it as a opportunity to
Hmm.
execute and push forward. Because what you did wasn't something that, you just snap your fingers and things got better. It really took commitment. One thing I
Right.
want to touch on too, I know we're talking about your book, but you are your book, so you're the author.
Yes.
When you look at the struggles that you had to endure, and now you're on the other side, you're doing your thing with international contractor, and you're on these different platforms telling your story, telling uh the behind the scenes of why you wrote the book. I mean, wow. Do you ever look at life and just be like, wow,
Oh,
I'm actually making it, man? Because I could be worse right now, but by the grace, God, I'm actually, I'm doing better than what some people who, could have probably every right to give up.
I mean, all the time. It's like part of my prayers is, and I'm not trying to get too religious, but I think I thank God for letting me see different things, experience, even things I fail at. I blame myself for the failure, but He gave me the opportunity, and it's like there were times you didn't think you would get the opportunity, and to get it, and yeah, I'm like, if I get the opportunity, whether I make it or not, it's on me at that point, Yeah.
Man, this is good because the other thing I'm hearing and seeing in the story too is that not just being self accountable for the life you want to live, but sticking to those hard choices, because commitment to what you're doing, no one is going to save you in this world. You have to do you. Like, no one's going to be like, hey, Harold, I heard you having a rough time. I'm going to be your genie and I'm going to make everything's perfect for you. Like, I wish that existed, but it doesn't exist for any of us. So no one gets to have shortcuts. My last question for you, for our viewing audience. I love that we went in this direction. I didn't plan on going this direction. If you can say one thing to someone who has a dream, but they are questioning themselves, they listen to that inner voice of self-doubt, what will you say to them to say, you know what, silence that inner voice that's saying that you can't do it and go after what you believe?
Wow. Most definitely go after it. Believe in it. You hear especially females say manifest. Believe in it. See, you know what it's going to be like if it happens. Stay in that lane. Stay in that lane. Don't get caught up in kind of the herd. And I say that because you see a lot in our community. You want to stick with your friends. You want everybody to, to hang together. And one thing I try to teach my kids, I say, success sometimes is only going to be you. Say, they're not going to come to college and say, I want all 5 of you. They're probably going to say, I just want him, or I just want her. I said, so, don't feel bad. Always expect success, and you got to break away from, unfortunately, the herd a lot of time. Not, unless you got some, what they call it, the entertainer have a big group that follow them. I forgot what they call it. But other than that, more than likely, you're going to have to be that guy or that woman. And which means you're going to have to be the one that stay in the course with the focus, pushing that, trying to kick that door in. When you fall, it's probably just going to be you taking that hurt. But then guess what? If you succeed, it'll be just you, taking in all the good that come with it. So, keep pushing, knock that door in. Don't step on your own foot,
Man, great story. This was a great episode. You listen to I Am Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today, Harold Phifer. You can get a copy of his book. I'm going to throw it up here real fast. You can get it on Amazon. It is My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift. Not only did you learn about the book today, but you got a little masterclass as well from Harold. So once again, I want to say to you, not only appreciate your time, but appreciate the wisdom of not just a story of resilience, but a story of never quitting. Because when life throws rocks at you, you can quit or you can say, bring it. So once again, to my audience, thank you for watching. And to Harold, thank you for your time, man.
I thank you too, Mr.